Hey everybody, this is the Liuchu 1-pal slider in stainless steel. Been looking forward to this for a while. It just arrived the other day, and we're going to take it all apart and talk about it. And I'll tell you the pros and cons here, maybe what my suggestions are if you're interested in getting one. And we'll compare it to a few other things and weigh it and measure it and do the usual. So stick around for that. Okay, so I think what I'm going to try to do is get through the basics very quickly at the beginning of this video so that if you're just looking for that, you can get it and move on. And then in the sort of the second half, we're going to take it apart and talk about the different options for changing it up. So it's a 4-click in either direction slider. You can have either a ball plunger or a ball and spring put in place in the inside. This happens to be the stainless steel insert. The one I have in is Teflon, but the ball plunger goes here. We'll take it apart later, I'll show you. It's pretty simple. Putting a ball and spring in this is not as simple, but putting the ball plunger in is very easy. There's a couple stops in here that prevent it from going any further in either direction. So right now I have it set up with a Teflon plate and a ball plunger that has a ball in it that is the black silicone nitride ceramic ball. I tried it earlier with the stainless steel. They have the same ball plungers with stainless steel balls on the ends, and it was a lot mushier, dirtier feeling. This is a lot more crisp, so I would recommend that. I would recommend if you're going to get any of these that you get the Teflon plate. The stainless one really added a lot of weight to this. That's another thing. This is particularly heavy. Maybe you like heavy, that's okay. But I think titanium would probably be a lot louder, a lot easier to handle. I tend to call this the bottom and this the top. In other words, the bottom is where the middle plate is screwed on. I tend to keep that in the bottom in my hand. And I say that in the same sense that the top D slider, I consider this to be the bottom. It's heavier. It wants to land in your hand that way. But sometimes using it upside down does feel a little bit different and a little bit better. So make sure you try it all different kinds of ways there. I like it. I like it. The spring and ball combination, it was just so weak. I couldn't deal with that. So maybe if you had the Ultim version, you could go with springs that light and get away with it. But I don't think it's going to go too well with this. At least that's my opinion. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some weights and measurements and get that out of the way. This is stainless steel with the Teflon plate on the inside. Just about 90 grams. Keep in mind it would weigh a little bit extra with that stainless steel plate inside. Measurements, 30 millimeters wide, 46 millimeters tall, and 12 millimeters thick. When it's fully extended, we're at 65 millimeters. So yeah, I think it's a nice one. I am glad that I got mine used at a reduced price. I might have been a little bit more disappointed to pay, I don't know, the standard price for it anyhow. Plus it would have cost extra for the Teflon plate. And when I bought this, it was already at a lower price, and the guy threw in the Teflon plate for free. So I feel really good about that. I am growing to like it. At first I had trouble with it. Then, like I said, I changed the ball from stainless steel to the black zirconium nitride, and really happy with it. I'm just going to have to carry it for a while. Let's do comparisons quickly. You know, the closest thing I have probably would be this. It's mechanical and magnetic. That's the Mini SP from Gal Studio, but it has a ball plunger here. As well as magnets, but the ball plunger has the similarity. There's only one. It's in the middle. So I messed that up. is also 4 clicks, but you really have to control that by how you squeeze it on the sides. It's softer clicks in this way. I still love this one, but you know, that's probably the closest similarity. You know, one I didn't think about, we all have, a lot of us have this. This is one of the first all-mechanical sliders. Could be the very first all-mechanical. I'm not sure. Actually, this would precede it. The other day, I had said that this is the first hybrid that I'm aware of. You know, magnetic and mechanical. But that's not really the case because the CP2 is magnetic and mechanical. So this is likely the first hybrid. But here we got comparisons, you know, size-wise. Looks like I'm number 380. The CP5. Gal Studio Mini SP. The 01 mechanical. The Top D. A little thicker, this is a little thicker. The Top B. Kind of makes me want to laugh, this one. So little travel. Alright, and lastly would be this nice Ultim one. I just love this one. Okay, so the rest of the video is going to be taking it apart. So I hope that helped you, and let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, stick around and we'll get into the guts of this thing. Okay, I'm sorry if I rushed through that first part there. I felt like I did, kinda. My first attempt was twice as long, so I did shorten it up quite a bit for everybody's benefit, I think. But now it's time to take it apart. I'm going to calm down, relax, get into it here, and we'll start with a T8 that I nearly ruined earlier, trying to take apart my Top B. There's just 2 screws, one on each side. Now you can just lift it right off. And this will slide out now. And here you have your little ball plunger. I think at the very last moment I will attempt to show you how to install a spring and ball as opposed to one of these ball plungers. But we'll save that for last because I did try it once this evening and it wasn't very fun. Anyhow, I don't care for that so much, but I know that Gavin over on Dynamic Inertia is hot for the ball and spring. He has zirconium and Ultim, and I know he's the one that turned me on to these. Really, I've watched a few videos since then, but it was his initial videos that really got me excited about it. He prefers the balls and springs. I prefer this. So, taking a closer look on the part that I'll call the top are the detents, and there's 2 set screws here. And they can be adjusted, although I have them turned in the whole way. I'm not sure why you'd want to do anything other than that. The only purpose they serve is to ride in these 2 tracks here, and that prevents you from going too far in one direction or the other. So I may even put a little dab of Loctite on there. I always use the weak Loctite called Jun.24. It's purple for things like this. But that's the top. This is the base, or the bottom, I would call it. This is where you could put your ball on spring. This would be the heavier piece, I believe. But this screws into this with these 2 screws, and we'll put it all back together. Now, the best way to put it back together, if you're going to stick with what I have here, which would be the ball plunger, is to first get your track inserted into the top piece. And then you can drop the ball plunger down into this and just give it a little push, and it's already engaged. Doesn't matter what you do there, it's as long as it's in, as long as you can. Now you can take it, place it right on top of this. Whoops. See this part sticking out? Our little ball plunger, of course, has to land in this hole, so that is important. But you put them back together again, and now you can put the screws back in. So let's pretend that we just put the screws back in. You'd slide it over to this side, put that screw back in, and everything would be back together. However, if we wanted to put in a ball and spring, let's take all this out. I'm going to stick with Teflon. I have the stainless steel one, but honestly, this is much smoother. You know, I did say at the beginning, I believe, if you can pay extra, get the Teflon insert. You'll be much happier with that. So a ball and spring. This was not easy to do, especially the first time. I should have gotten one of these out ahead of time. You know what? Okay, now hopefully I've got my act together. Got a spring and a ball. This is a little bit trickier. So you can go ahead and take your insert, put it back into the top half, get that ready, and then the bottom half, you want to take your spring. This is a conical spring. It's wider on this side, narrower on this side. You want to put the wider side down in. Now you can try it the other way if you want, but let's just stick with this. And then we'll take the ball. It's always easier with tweezers. And just balance that ball on top of there. Now, this is the best way I found to do it. Keep everything lined up. Keep this lined up in the center. Just keep everything lined up in the center. And then you're going to lower this down on top of it. And the best way to do that is to somehow get down even with this and get yourself a view so you can see the things coming together, which I'm going to pause to do that. But you want to line it up, and once the holes are lined up, in other words, this lines up with the ball and spring, push the whole thing together gently and just keep it in one place. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at it from the side. Straight down, nice and slow as possible. Keep everything lined up. Uh-oh, I don't know if I got it or not. Here's another important point. Now that it's together, I do not want this Teflon or this middle piece to move at all. Don't let it move, not until we have a chance to screw it down. Keep everything together. I'm going to test it here. I'm going to hold that middle piece from sliding anywhere, and I'm going to glide this off. Okay, it feels like it's working. If you hear that, do you hear the click? So we got it in. Now we can go ahead and put the screws back in. Now the reason I'm saying you don't want this middle part to shift, you don't want it to shift either way right now, because if you think about it, it's sort of bisecting that spring. Half of that spring is in this material, and the other half of that spring is in the stainless steel. If this part slides too far in either direction, you're sort of like guillotining, cutting off, or like a guillotine. This part is going to chop the spring, it's going to bend it. And I think I did that earlier to one of the springs. But there's your warning. And it's just a matter of putting the screws back in, and maybe keep a little bit of pressure applied to that, because I let it go there and it sprung up on me. Maybe the Teflon is a little more flexible than the stainless steel, of course. I did not think about that. But now it should be safe to use. Yeah, for me, if you wanted very, very mild, then that would be the way to go. And I do believe Gavin over there on Dynamic Inertia, I think he might have mentioned about try different size ball diameters, try different ball materials. think he may have even stacked springs or put 2 springs in place of 1. So that might make a difference. But this is a little too... It doesn't drop on its own, but it's a little bit too soft for me. Now this is the 1 spring and 1 black silicone nitride ceramic ball. Certainly makes it easier to use this way. But I think, for me, I'll be sticking with the ball plunger with the silicone nitride balls. So there you have it, friends. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.